Victory on the Toyota Dealer 400 sees Nissan's Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan move 2 points ahead in the ABSA Off-Road Production Vehicle Championship, while Atang Mageghaneni and Bucks Carolyn romped to victory in the Total Gymco and clinched the ABSA Off-Road Special Vehicle Championship with 1 race to go. And rookie Gavin Cronje and co-driver Robin Houghton finally score a maiden Class E win in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i.
The South African Off-Road Championship is proudly brought to you by ABSA. Speak to ABSA first for fast, flexible vehicle finance. We can also structure an asset finance solution to suit your business needs. It's really never been easier.
Lydenburg, which is situated in a fertile valley between the Steenkampsberg Mountains and the Mouwsberg on the Mpumalanga Escarpment, played host for the second time to the Toyota Dealer 400, the 7th round of the ABSA Off-Road Championship. Lydenburg was one of several republics established in the Transvaal because of dissension among the early Voortrekker leaders about the destiny of their followers north of the Vaal River. The area was the scene of many battles during the Anglo-Boer War in the 1800s, and the peace would again be shattered as 55 contenders for overall and class victory and championship honours converged on the town to do battle in the penultimate round of the championship. The SAM organised event featured a new section in the Steenkampsberg, and competitors were expected to complete 2 laps of a tortuous 199-kilometre route on Saturday, as well as a 36-kilometre prologue in the Quena Basin area on Friday. With the Class T entry down to 3 cars, a decision was taken by Nissan to switch 2 GBS racing entries and the BB Auto Nissan of Arnold du Plessis to Class T to ensure that they scored maximum points to ward off the threat posed by Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin in the Class D Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i. The facilities and hospitality offered by Lydenburg Toyota was second to none, and the indoor scrutineering area offered everyone some respite from the searing heat. And while talking of heat, tensions were reaching meltdown point in some classes, where a good result would be critical for those with championship aspirations. The Production Vehicle Championship has been a closely fought affair all year, with Nissan dominating the top placings and Ford and Toyota waiting in the wings for either Cox, de Villiers or Grobler to falter. Former Production Vehicle champions Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer have not managed an overall win in the Team Ford Racing Ranger this season, but consistent performances place them in a position, with 2 races to go, where they can still win the championship.
It's been an exciting year, and you know, we've got 2 races left to go, and there's anyone that can win it. When I say anyone, I think there's 1 of 4 people that can win it, so it is very exciting. I think today, well, this weekend is going to be the telling one. Whoever falters here is going to be in trouble for the rest of the championship. For us, really exciting is to see the development team lying second in Class E on their first year of racing. It's fantastic, and yeah, they have a shot at winning the championship as well in their Class E car, but you know, even to finish second, they've had a fantastic year and done really well.
Reigning Class E champions Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin are locked in battle for the Class D championship with Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford.
Alfie's had a really good run up to now, and all the odds have been in his favour. It can't continue that way, and we're hoping that it'll swing our way, and if he has a small problem, we have a shot at the overall and the class championship.
Hugo and Jaap de Bruin have dominated Class E this season, but are under threat from a number of crews, including Hein Grobler and Cecil Fincham.
The race is quite tough. We're going to take it easy and try to finish at least. And if we could win the class, it will be even better. We need to win the next 2 races, this race and the next race, and finish within the 7 cars at front. So we hope it will be good, and we'll finish good and win the class.
The Special Vehicle Championship may appear to have been wrapped up by Mageghaneni and Carolyn, but there are 4 crews who can still win the title if the Total Gymco pair falter in the remaining 2 events. Gegeghaneni has been the class act in the special vehicle category this season, winning 3 events overall, with 2 of the victories shared with former special vehicle champion Brooks Carolyn.
Tangani needs 2 points to get the championship, so I don't want him to go too slowly because then he's going to make a mistake. So we're going to race to try and get a very good result. I'm quite a bit behind, but if we get a good result, we can clean it up today, or tomorrow rather. That's the plan.
After a slow start to the season, former Class B champions Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane have finally got their campaign underway.
I think the championship is still open. Adrie can still win it. I mean, it all depends on how Marcus goes, you know. And he had a good run out of the past 2 races, so we'll hang in there. If he makes a mishap, then we're going to be there, either Adrie or me.
And we're there. Well, I've been leading the first half of the season, but now Marcus had a good run for 2 events. He passed us all, but me and Gil is there. We're sitting in behind and just waiting for him to make a mistake. But our championship depends on him.
Zane Noble and Richard Hope have all but wrapped up the Class S championship in the Abe's Furniture Race Co. The Budfontein Bourasal in the Quena Basin area was the base for the 36-kilometre prologue, and RP Reineker's Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, with Andrew Birkin at the wheel, was used to check the route, which promised to be fast but dusty. Dust is an ever-present problem in off-road racing, so a good starting position is vitally important. Crews made last-minute preparations before heading out to do battle. The special vehicle category had the makings of a dogfight, with Brandon Harkis making his debut in the new Corvette LS1 V8-powered single-seater bat, which is destined to be raced by him in the SCORE Championship in the United States next season. Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan posted the fastest time in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, completing the 36-kilometre course in 28 minutes versus the 28 minutes and 7.8 seconds of teammates and production vehicle championship leaders Hannes Frobler and Richard Leek. Frobler and Leek are the #1 seeded crew and have the privilege of starting first on the prologue, which is not always ideal, as they have to be the pathfinders, which makes it easier for crews starting behind them. Walridge and Scholthammer were 3rd fastest in the Team Ford Racing Ranger and 1 minute and 44 seconds behind the leading Nissan. Castrol Toyota pair Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin took the fight to their Class D Ford and Nissan rivals and came out on top, which augured well for the main race. They qualified 4th, 11 seconds ahead of Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham in the Team Ford Racing Ranger. The KwaZulu-Natal cane farmers have not had the best of seasons and were hoping to finish the year on a high note, but would have to fend off a determined Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford in the Arnold Schatz Cars Nissan hardbody, who were only 9 seconds off the pace. The Nissan crew is one of 4 that is in line to win the coveted Production Vehicle Championship, provided, of course, that they win their class and finish as high up in the overall placings as possible on the Toyota Dealer 400 and the Carnival City 400. Reigning Class D champions Hein Grobler and Gerard Prinsloo were not in the running for the championship, and along with teammates JP Augustine and Rulle van Heerden, willingly entered their GBS Racing Nissan in Class T to ensure that Nissan scored maximum points in the championship. They were almost a minute slower than Cox in the prologue. Class D winners on the Nissan Dealer 400, Paolo Piazza Musso and Rod Herring, were 8th fastest in the Class D Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i and only 5 seconds slower than Grobler and Prinsloo. Rookie Gavin Cronje and mentor and multiple co-drivers champion Robin Houghton outqualified the rest of the Class E field in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i and would start 18 seconds ahead of their KwaZulu-Natal-based teammates Zane Pierce and Henny Vosloo. Father and son, Cliff and Louis Weichelt, rounded out the top 10 after a good run in the Bosel N1 4x4 Toyota Hilux, which, unlike the factory-entered Castrol Toyotas, is fitted with a V6 engine. Nissan dominated the prologue as they had done all season, while Class D had the makings of a tremendous battle, and Class E turned out to be an all-Toyota affair. The battle lines were drawn in the special vehicle category, and Brandon Harkis emerged on top by a whopping 1 minute and 22 seconds after the first skirmish. The Corvette LS1 V-powered Bat was certainly the machine to beat. That performance certainly got her attention. Frikkie Botha and Blackie Swart have got the Lexus V8-powered Procoat Gymco sorted out at last and managed to qualify second, despite this incident, which cost them some time. Championship leaders Mekhekeneni and Carolyn were happy to settle for third in the Corvette LS1 V8-powered Total Gymco and let the other contenders fight for position. Class A has developed into a horsepower war, with teams constantly raising the performance of their vehicles, and quite where it will all end, no one knows. Last year's Toyota Dealer 400 winners, Mark Corbett and Jean Moore, put the cut brake on the Audi V8-powered Century Property Developments back to good use around this tricky turn. Only 37 seconds separated second, third and fourth place. KwaZulu-Natal-based Clint Gibson and Mike Brown were fifth fastest in the Audi V8-powered Presidium Financial Services Bat, which led this year's event until 100 metres from the finish, but a wrong slot in the pits cost them the win. Nardis Alberts and Colin Hunter qualified sixth and were the leading Class S crew in the Raptor Raceco, which, in the hands of Greg Dowse, won the Toyota 1000 Desert Race in 2002. Archie Rutherford and Evan Hutchinson in the Class S Ruthcon Raceco were 40 seconds slower than arch-rival Alberts. The class has not been well supported this year, so for once, spectators could expect an interesting tussle, albeit only between two contenders. Arnold Pistorius and Vincent Horn were the 8th and the leading Class B qualifiers in the Twin City Raceco. That was a bit of a wake-up call. Marcus Taylor and Mark Deschelaine qualified 9th and were only 5.6 seconds slower than Pistorius and Horn. Dani Murray and Andrew Utterson completed the top 10 in the Intelligence Bat, which was one of the first bats built by Brandon Harkis and campaigned by Gary and Bodo Bertholdt in the 2001 season. The Class A brigade dominated the top placings, with the two Class S contenders well positioned in 6th and 7th place. The Class B contingent gave a good account of themselves, and the scene was set for some great racing in the special vehicle category. Saturday's main event included a start in downtown Lydenburg with a sprint through town that linked up with the main route. The local townsfolk turned out in their droves for what promised to be an exciting day's racing. Mike Brown and Jean Moore took time out to talk about the comedy of errors at the finish of last year's Toyota Dealer 400.
Last year, about 5 k's from the end, we hit a major hole and lost our front right wheel. We limped in, and in the last 20 meters, we took a wrong slot, and we went into the pits instead of going through the finish line. And it took us a while to turn around because we obviously didn't have our front steering. And yeah, popped us at the end. Unfortunately, and hopefully this year is going to be a lot better.
Yeah, on our side it was luck. We had to catch up to them. We heard that they had a problem,
and try to catch him, but we could also see the dust in front of us, and we knew there was only like 5 kilometers left over. And as we turned into the pits, I said right, and we turned right, and there was no other car to finish, so that was us finishing first. But it was absolute luck, and about 4 seconds later, these guys were behind us.
Brandon Harkis was on a mission to win overall in the new single-seater batch.
Totally different focus as being a two-seater. You know, a two-seater, you're always waiting for an instruction, and yesterday was awesome. Just changed the complete brain pattern there, completely focused, wait till you find the road, and then you go. This car is unbelievable. I really took it easy yesterday. It has huge potential. So keeping up with Nissan this morning, I'm going to use their professional navigators for the first lap, and then we'll see what happens on the second lap. Really looking forward to it. The car is incredible.
Lesotho Sun 400 winner John Weir-Smith had problems in the prologue and would again start virtually at the back of the field in 47th place.
We broke a drive shaft yesterday, and there's certain components of the car that are time sensitive and that get quite fatigued. So the thing broke. There's no way of really telling when it's going to go. So we put a new drive shaft in, and I think we're starting about 52nd, but we've got a 10-minute dust gap. So we've got to make up a little, about 14 minutes or so, which is the time penalty, and I think it can be done fairly easily.
Starting first always presents a problem for crews in that they have to act as pathfinders, but Janelle de Villiers didn't seem to be phased.
I think it looks quite dusty out there, and it's going to be an advantage, although the grass is quite long, and I think Francois has got to have big eyes this morning. But no, definitely an advantage, even if it's only 7 seconds. But hopefully we can be there at the end as well.
A huge crowd lined the main street in Lydenburg as Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan led the field away in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody. The first of many river crossings was at the Dorps River on the outskirts of town. De Villiers and Jordan made the most of their lead and left their pursuers behind in the dust. Krobler and Leek were next in line and trying to stay with their teammates. Harkes had to adjust to driving without the benefit of a co-driver. Woolridge and Scholthammer hoped that the route would be slow and technical, so as not to give the Nissans the advantage over the Ford in the horsepower stakes. Botha and Swart were still comfortably placed in the Procoat Jimco, but would soon come under pressure from Maheheneni and the rest of the Class A contenders. The Total Jimco pair had already made up some ground on Botha, but had Mark Corbett and Jean Moore closing in fast in the Century Property Development's batch. Cronje and Birkin were determined not to relinquish the Class D lead, while Gibson and Brown had a score to settle with last year's winners, Corbett and Moore. Team Ford Racing Schroeder and Peckham were 10th on the road and 5th overall in the production vehicle category. Heading into the mountains, Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jourdan were the overall and Class T leaders in the Nissan hardbody. Brandon Harkes was 3rd on the road and the special vehicle category and Class A leader. Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin were 4th overall in the production vehicle category and the Class D leaders in the 4-cylinder Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i, while veteran Nardis Alberts and Colin Hunter were 6th overall in the special vehicle category and the Class S leaders in the Rapsa Raceco. Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane had matters under control in Class B and were 7th overall in the special vehicle category. Gavin Cronje, younger brother of Mark, and Robin Houghton were 9th overall in the production vehicle category and 1st in Class E. There was no stopping Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jourdan as they continued their charge at the front of the field. They had run-slotted a few minutes earlier and almost lost the lead to Krobler and Leek. The leading Nissan is equipped with an independent rear suspension as opposed to Krobler's Nissan, which is fitted with a live axle. You be the judge as to which vehicle handles the jumps better. Krobler and Leek were no more than 30 seconds behind the leaders. Harkes wasn't content to lead the special vehicle category. He wanted to beat the Class T trucks and win the Toyota Dealer 400 overall, a feat that he and Gary Bertholdt achieved on last year's Carnival City 400. Any hopes of winning were dashed by this untimely puncture. The Team Ford Racing Ranger of Woolridge and Scholthammer was just no match for the more powerful Nissans when it came to fast sections such as this. Harkes was about to lose the lead to Mark Corbett and John Moore. Another position lost, this time to Atang Mafekaneni and Bucks Carolyn in the Total Jimco. Harkes later crashed into a ditch and ripped off the right front wheel of the bat. Class D leader Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin set a blistering pace in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i, but were being chased hard by Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham in the Team Ford Racing Ranger. Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford were on the pace in the Nissan, but a broken prop shaft would cost them time and drop them way down the order. Class S leaders Alberts and Hunter were under no threat from Rutherford and Hutchinson, who had steering problems on the Ruthcon racecourse. Gavin Cronje and Robin Houghton had made up a place and were now 8th in the production vehicle category and comfortably in the Class E lead. Mafeking 500 winners Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau were having gearbox problems on the Advan soft bat and were destined to retire after 100 kilometres, but there were no such problems for Class B leaders Taylor and de Chalane in the JRE, who had Class A contenders Ger Juster and Freddie Pretorius in the Atlas Copco Sandmaster hunting them down. Castrol Toyota pair Zane Pierce and Henny Vosloo were second in Class E, but had Class E Championship leaders Hugo and Jaap de Bruin in close pursuit in last year's Class E Championship winning Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i. The De Bruins won the Class E Championship in 2002 and are set to win again after a highly successful season. The Weichels certainly didn't need this bothersome puncture, but slick teamwork ensured that they didn't lose a position. Hein Millman was in trouble.
Ons het goed gery. 20 kilos van die begin af toe breek die injectorpyp en die bakkie net nie loop nie. En ons het nou maar besluit. Ons het aangeneem as injectorpyp. Ons het aangeneem as injectorpyp. Ja, hy het al van tevore gebreek. Wel, en dit is nou hy. Ons hoop maar hy's net los. Nou hoef ons daarom nie uit te haal. Hein? Jo.
John Ware Smith and Jeff Minnett had moved up from 47th to 27th position in the BMW 540 V8 powered Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco, but their charge would come to an end when another drive shaft failed later in the race. Mollman and Fincham appeared to have solved the problem on the 4x4 Mega World Toyota Hilux, and they were able to rejoin the race ahead of Class E rivals Bapumzi Rubeluza and Kulili Fakalisa in the Team Ford Racing Ranger. The Pietermaritzburg-based development team is second in the Class E Championship. The Team Ford pair has had an impeccable finishing record and could have done without this problem.
We went over that big jump there, and it looked like we broke the top ball joint, and then it pulled out the drive shaft and the bottom ball joint. So we're just trying to replace the bottom one. The top one is still intact. We just broke the nuts off. So we're getting them back, and hopefully we can do that on time.
The Toyota Dealer 400 took a heavy toll, and this section of the route led to the demise of virtually the entire Class B field and some other fancied crews.
We had a bit of a problem with the power in the car, and secondly, the gearbox packed on us, so we couldn't do all these mountains, and we just call it a day. You know, I think we're gonna just get ready for the next race, and hopefully, you know, the iTech bat will be able to finish next time.
An ignominious end to the iTech Bats race. The route included 2 decontrols to link sections of the route, which gave crews a chance to stretch their legs before resuming battle. De Villiers and Jordaan were the first to arrive and were followed seconds later by Grobler and Leek.
It's quite rough out there and a lot of dust. It's not as nice to drive second on the road, but we're going well. We just keep it there and we keep the pace nicely, not far behind.
Where's that?
Nothing on those switchbacks, those Class E cars. Yes, Corbett.
Yeah, going well. We're in front, leading our class. So all's good at the moment, but there's quite a few people charging hard behind us. So we've got to keep the hammer down. And
actually going well. We've been pushing quite hard, but we've still maintained the gap on the Ford, and the Alpha's fallen a bit behind. Actually quite tough because all 3 vehicles are right behind each other. At this point in time, going well.
Yeah, no, we're enjoying it. The 3 D classes are just staying together. Quite happy to be in second at the moment. All depends. We'll see on the last lap. We'll try and push a bit harder. We're going at quite a nice pace. Having good fun.
Yeah, it was well. It's a bit dusty, but yeah, going well.
Magegheneni and Carolyn were second and within spitting distance of Corbett and Moore. De Villiers and Jordaan were heading for the end of the first 190-kilometre lap, but teammates Grobler and Leek were not far behind. The scene was set for an interesting finish, with the winner set to gain a slight advantage in the Production Vehicle Championship battle. If the 2 Nissan crews finished in this order, Grobler and Leek would lose the championship lead for the first time this season, and De Villiers and Jordaan would gain a 2-point advantage. Woolridge and Scholthammer stand a chance of winning the Production Vehicle Championship if both Nissans fail to finish either of the remaining events and the Team Ford pair wins overall. It may seem a tall order, but the Carnival City 400 may just prove to be the turning point for the former champions. Mark Corbett and Jean Moore had a comfortable lead in the special vehicle category, but unbeknown to them, a CV boot had torn on the Century Property Development's bat, which could put them out of the race. No expense or effort is spared in the preparation of the Total Jimco, which has resulted in an enviable finishing and success record for Magegheneni and Carolyn. Months of development on the 2002 Special Vehicle Championship winning Proco Jimco has paid off for Frikkie Botha and Blackie Swart, who picked up a puncture earlier in the race. The designated service point was in sight, but race leaders De Villiers and Jordaan would bypass the area because the Nissan has the fuel range to complete the entire event without having to stop to refuel. The same applied to Grobler and Leek, who were never more than 30 seconds behind the leaders. Woolridge and Scholthammer would also not stop to refuel the Team Ford Racing Ranger. None of the special vehicles were able to complete the race on 1 tank of fuel. Magegheneni and Carolyn were slowly closing the gap on Corbett and Moore. Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin were 4th overall and the Class D leaders in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i. Despite clutch problems on the Team Ford Racing Ranger, Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham were able to hold on to 2nd spot in Class D, ahead of Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford in the Arnold Schatz Cars Nissan Hardbody, which only had front-wheel drive for the last 60 kilometres of the lap. Paolo Piazzamosso and Rod Herring had a frustrating time in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i after breaking the right front drive shaft 40 kilometres into the race and then losing the power steering at the 100 kilometre mark, while Hein Krobler and Gerard Prinsloo lost time when they picked up a puncture on the GBS Racing Nissan Hardbody. Marcus Taylor and Mark Deschelaine were having a great run in the JRE and were 3rd overall in the special vehicle category, but then disaster struck. Zane Pearce and Henny Vosloo had grabbed the Class E lead from Castrol Toyota teammates Gavin Cronje and Robin Houghton when they had to extinguish an electrical fire in the cockpit. John Thompson and Clinton McNamara in the Norman Zarco Light couldn't believe their luck as they passed the stranded JRE and took over the Class B lead.
Then we should be able to turn it. Oh, it's a bit disappointing. We've got a spare gearbox at the pits, but we're about half a kilometre from the pits. So I don't think we're going to make it. The carrier's gone.
It was a case of so close yet so far for Taylor and Deschelaine, who were forced to retire within sight of the pits. Class S leaders Alberts and Hunter gained another place in the overall order. There was frantic activity in the Corbett pit as Makhekaneni headed for his. It was likely that the Toyota Dealer 400 would be won in the pits.
Okay, all right.
We're having a jaw like you don't know. The drivers make me a bit nervous, but anyway, we're going cool. I've had to clap him a few times, but everything's going under control. Everything's fine. We're looking forward to getting back here. In about 3 hours' time, we'll be back for some beers.
Makhekaneni and Carolyn now had the overall lead, while in the Corbett pit, there appeared to be much work still to be done.
Well, we broke a back CV boot. Obviously something hooked it while we were on the track, but we've just lost the lead to a tongue now. He's about 35 seconds in front of us now. We had a minute on him when we came into the pits, but we've lost that and are steadily losing more time. So a lot to make up in the next loop, but hopefully we can do it.
Cronje and Schroeder were already long gone when Cox and Pitchford arrived in the pits.
Yeah, we've broken a rear prop shaft, so for the last 60 k's we haven't had four-wheel drive, only front-wheel drive, but we're lucky we're here, and you know, our main aim now is just to get points today and then go out hopefully the last race. So we need the points. You know, after 5 wins, after 5 wins, we need just to finish the next 2 races.
Yeah. Okay, one.
There was a hive of activity around the Piazzamosso Toyota.
Power steering pumps failed. Right front drive shafts failed. That's about it.
2.7. Okay, leave it. Back and plug it. Let's go. How's it going, you need? Yeah, we got. Yeah. Bye.
Gavin Cronje had lost the Class E lead and would have to work hard to get back up front.
We had an electrical fire and been running quite hot with the engine temperature. So we've had to conserve it a little bit, made it back to the pits, so they're just busy bypassing the fan. and we should be fine.
With just over 100 kilometres remaining, Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan were still in the lead in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, but being chased relentlessly by teammates Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek. Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer had settled into a comfortable third place in the Team Ford Racing Ranger, with their only hope of improving their position being if one of the Nissans faltered. Enjoy the ride. Special Vehicle Championship leaders Atang Mageganeni and Bucks Carolyn were in a class of their own, while Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin were headed, barring any problems, for another top 5 finish and the Class D win in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i. Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham battled along without a clutch on the Team Ford Racing Ranger. Repairs to the torn CV boot on the Century Property Developments bat cost Mark Corbett and Jean Moore 12 minutes, while Gavin Cronje and Robin Houghton had regained the Class E lead in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i. Teammates Zane Pierce and Henny Foster were second in Class E, but their run would soon come to an end when the back diff broke. Clint Gibson and Mike Brown lost time when they picked up 2 punches on the Presidium Financial Services bat on the first lap, but a consistent drive saw them move up to third in the special vehicle category. They had to remove the roof panel to cure an overheating problem on the Audi V8 powered machine. Klerksdorp businessmen Hein Grobler and Gerard Prinsloo were 4th in Class T, with the GBS Racing Nissan hardbody performing better than it had done for some time. Whatever the outcome of the remaining 2 races, Henry Zamatin and Bodo Schwegler had already secured 3rd place in the Class D Championship in the Mastercraft PlayStation Pajero. The Weichels lost time when the plug wires and the accelerator cable came loose on the Bosel N1 4x4 Toyota Hilux. Hugo and Jaap de Bruin had adopted a cautious approach in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i because they only need to finish to win the Class E Championship for the 2nd time, while Paolo Piazza Musso and Rod Herring were on a mission to make up for some of the 20 minutes they had lost in the pits. Geir Juster is one of the leading competitors in the Northern Regions Championship, who is trying his hand at national championship competition in the Atlas Copco Sandmaster. Fricky Botha and Blackie Swash had dropped down the order after the clutch on the Procoat Jimco failed 100 kilometres into the 2nd lap of the race. Petersburg-based brothers Yuri and Andre Duplessis and the BB Auto Nissan hardbody were headed for 3rd in Class E, while brother Arnold and co-driver George Baker were forced to retire on lap 2 when the front diff seized on the BB Auto Nissan hardbody. Class E winners on the Mafeking 500, Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst, had all manner of problems on the Tyco Trucks Toyota Hilux 2.7i, but would make it to the finish, as would a struggling Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford in the Arnold Chatscars Nissan hardbody. Giel Nel picked up his customary puncture per event on the Look ATE Truggy and twice survived the mountain pass that decimated the Class B field on lap 1 to grab the Class B lead, while Hartswater-based JP Augustine and Rulaf van Heerden limped home with broken rear springs and only rear-wheel drive on the GBS Racing Nissan hardbody. Swaziland-based John Thompson and Clinton McNamara were the only other Class B crew left in the special vehicle category and having a great time in the Mormon Zarko Light. Class S contenders Alberts and Hunter retired, which handed the lead to Archie Rutherford and Evan Hutchinson in the Ruthcon Raceco. With less than 3 kilometres to go, the overall and Class T leaders were Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan in the proudly South African Nissan Hardbody, who had opened up a 3.5-minute lead on Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek after they picked up a puncture in the closing stages of the Toyota Dealer 400. The ABSA Off-Road Championship would definitely be going down to the wire with de Villiers and Jordan, the new production vehicle championship leaders, by a mere 2 points over their teammates.
It was a good race for us. I think we had an advantage with the dust because it was very difficult to pass out there. We had one place where we wrong slotted and Hannes nearly got past, but we managed to slip in front of him and keep it to the end. It was just important to miss all the rocks. But we did that, and I'm very happy that we could get a win.
Sam did a brilliant job of organising this route with all the organisers. It was something of everything. It was rocky terrain, and it was very, very well marked. I think maybe the best that I've experienced this whole year. And we're very glad, and I just want to thank the team for the effort they've put into making it a success.
Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholthammer were on their way to a well-earned 3rd place in the Team Ford Racing Ranger and a chance to still clinch the championship at the Carnival City 400 on the 19th and 20th of November.
It's a great car. It's just we just need a little bit more power, and then we could really stay with them. But it's a good car, nothing wrong with it. You didn't have to get out the car all day. Nice run.
The Special Vehicle Championship was within Atanga Heganeni and Bix Carolyn's grasp. The Total Jimco had not missed a beat all day, and the happiest man in the pits was crew chief Jace Singh. The Motswana was about to realize a lifelong dream, and for Carolyn, it would be his 3rd title as co-driver.
Our partnership has been immeasurable. He's been a good mentor, he's been a good guide, he's been all the way there with me. He's talked to me every meter of the race, and that is something that every driver in the Class TAs or wherever in the sport needs. Without a navigator, chances of doing well or finishing a race in a good position are very, very slim. Professional navigators go unseen, but they're quite intricate. They're probably as good or if not better than the drivers.
To the guys who organised this race, it was absolutely awesome. We had a wonderful time. It was really a technical race. If you drove too fast, you can speak to the guys who will give you the post-mortems, but I really enjoyed it, and it was an absolutely awesome event, and Atang drove exactly to instructions. We had a game plan before we started this morning. We stuck to the game plan, and it went 100% according to schedule, so I'm thrilled.
A maiden Class D win for Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i.
I'm absolutely ecstatic. It's the first one this year. So we had a really good run last year, and coming into the new season, hoping that we'd pick up some early points. And yeah, we didn't have a great season, but it looks like it's going to go down to the wire. Alfie sounds like Alfie's out. So now the points are close again. So off we go to Carnival.
And a maiden Class E win too for brother Gavin and co-driver Robin Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i.
We worked quite hard for it. We started off quite good, had a small mishap, lost 4 places, quite a bit of time, and then worked back at it and passed the leader with about 100 k's to go. We could really just cruise to the finish.
Mr. Consistency, Giel Nel, was up to his usual tricks, start slow and finish first, which he has used to good effect over the years and which has seen him win the Class B championship a number of times.
Now it's down to the line again. Carnival City will now decide who's going to be the Class B champion again, by the looks of it.
It was a weekend of maiden class wins, with Archie Rutherford and Evan Hutchinson claiming theirs in the Class S Rootkon Raceco.
At last, it's been a long time coming. We had lots of problems in the past, but today everything went well. Smooth run, no problems. Ev next to me, calling well. What more could you ask for?
24 of the 55 starters made it to the finish of a tough Toyota Dealer 400, of which 16 were in the production vehicle category. Nissan dominated in Class T, while Toyota took home the laurels in Class D and E. Only 8 special vehicles finished the event, with Class A vehicles occupying the top 5 places, and Class B entries filling 6th and 7th place. Mekheleni and Carolyn have wrapped up the Special Vehicle Championship with 1 race to go.
The South African Off-Road Championship was proudly brought to